A lazy pink starfish who somehow became one of the most iconic best friends in cartoon history, Patrick Star has changed way more than his brain cells over the last 27 years. From under a rock loser to spin-off headliner, his evolution quietly reshaped SpongeBob's entire world. Under a rock. Patrick Star first appears in 1999's SpongeBob SquarePants as a simple pink starfish who literally lives under a rock, wearing only his now iconic green floral swim trunks. He is introduced as SpongeBob's best friend, mostly jobless, slow-witted, and spending his days doing absolutely nothing until SpongeBob comes back to play. His early role is pure comedic support. He gives terrible advice, causes trouble accidentally, and creates chaos just by existing. But his loyalty to SpongeBob is obvious, even when he barely understands what is going on. From the beginning, Patrick's stupidity is played as both danger and charm. He often pushes SpongeBob into reckless schemes, but when someone hurts his best friend, Patrick instantly becomes emotional, defensive, and even strangely brave. That mixture of cluelessness and sudden intensity is what made him so memorable in the first seasons. In many early episodes, Patrick is like a child in an adult body. He throws tantrums, misunderstands basic logic, but also shows innocent joy over the smallest things. This contrast made fans relate to him as the chaotic friend in their own lives. And speaking of chaotic friends, if you have one who would definitely live under a rock and scream, "Is mayonnaise an instrument?" Tell them to subscribe right now before Patrick tries to use your phone as a jellyfish net. Classic Patrick. During the classic era of SpongeBob, Patrick becomes the perfect partner in crime for SpongeBob's optimism. They blow bubbles together, go jellyfishing, and turn the most boring Bikini Bottom day into an insane adventure. Patrick's comedy is heavily visual and verbal. Blank stares, delayed reactions, and legendary lines like, "No, this is Patrick," turn him into a quote machine across early 2000s meme culture, long before memes even became mainstream. Emotionally, early Patrick is more balanced than later seasons. He is dumb, but not yet aggressively mean or exaggerated. His friendship with SpongeBob feels wholesome, almost childlike, and episodes often show how their bond survives embarrassment, failure, and misunderstandings. These seasons also establish Patrick's surprising physical toughness. He survives explosions, falls, and ridiculous injuries without permanent damage, which becomes a running joke about his indestructible starfish body. Visually, the animation is rougher and simpler, but Patrick's design is already stable. Rounded body, simple eyes, and bright colors that stick in the viewer's memory. Movie hero. In the 2004 SpongeBob SquarePants movie, Patrick's evolution takes a major step. For the first time, he shares a full cinematic hero's journey with SpongeBob. They travel to Shell City to retrieve King Neptune's crown, facing monsters, dried-out death, and biker bars along the way. Patrick still plays the idiot best friend, but the movie shows a much more emotional and brave side to him, as he chooses to go on a dangerous mission instead of staying safely in Bikini Bottom. One of the most iconic changes is how the movie frames Patrick's stupidity as courage. He rushes into danger not because he understands the stakes, but because he genuinely loves SpongeBob and trusts him completely. The film also leans into comedic extremes, like his goofy fascination with Goofy Goober and the famous scene where he appears in underwear with a flag, taking dumb pride to an epic level. This movie proves Patrick can function not just as background comedy, but as a co-lead in a big theatrical story. And it sets the tone for how later projects will use him as a lovable disaster hero. Pop culture cameos. As SpongeBob became a global phenomenon, Patrick broke out of Bikini Bottom and started appearing in other shows and media, which is a major part of his evolution as a cultural icon. In Robot Chicken, he appears in sketch form, including one episode where he is strangely blue instead of his usual pink, parodying and exaggerating his character for adult humor. Family Guy features Patrick in a cutaway gag, where a SpongeBob DVD is played in the car, with the camping episode song showing him as part of Meg and Peter's chaotic ride. Patrick also shows up in The Simpsons, with his image appearing in an exhibit of marine organisms and even on a website capture screen about hyper-intelligent cartoon characters, which is hilariously ironic given his tiny brain. These cameos show how Patrick moved from just a Nickelodeon sidekick to a recognizable pop culture symbol, instantly understood even in short appearances. When a character can appear for a few seconds and still get a laugh just by standing there, that's when it becomes clear that their design and personality have become iconic. Superhero Patrick. In the 2015 movie, The SpongeBob Movie, Sponge Out of Water, Patrick is pushed into a more action-focused role with a full superhero alter ego. After Bikini Bottom falls into apocalyptic chaos because the Krabby Patty formula is stolen by the Pirate Burger Beard, SpongeBob, Patrick, and the gang travel to the surface world to fix everything. Here, Patrick adopts the superhero identity, Mr. Super Awesomeness, reflecting how his character has shifted from just a lazy idiot to someone who participates actively in saving the day, even if he does it in the most ridiculous ways possible. This phase of his evolution embraces his physicality and visual humor. The CGI and hybrid animation let the creators play with dramatic superhero poses, exaggerated powers, and slapstick action that makes Patrick look both powerful and hopelessly clueless at the same time. Importantly, his loyalty to SpongeBob remains the emotional core. Even as the visuals get bigger and crazier, Patrick's motivation stays simple. He just wants to help his best friend and eat along the way. This balance between epic stakes and Patrick's small brain perspective keeps his hero moments funny instead of turning him into a serious action character. Musical and anime. Patrick's evolution gets surprisingly experimental in alternate interpretations like the SpongeBob musical, live on stage, and the fan-made SpongeBob anime. In the 2019 musical, Patrick is portrayed by Danny Skinner, who brings his own physical acting and voice to the character, as Patrick joins SpongeBob and Sandy in trying to stop a volcano from destroying Bikini Bottom. Seeing Patrick performed by a human actor highlights how much of his charm comes from body language. Heavy, clumsy movements, confused expressions, and sudden bursts of enthusiasm. In the SpongeBob SquarePants anime adaptation, Patrick undergoes a huge tonal shift into a surprisingly skilled fighter. Unlike SpongeBob, who uses absorbent energy to enter a muscle mode, Patrick activates his muscle form through sheer courage and determination. While his power is limited compared to SpongeBob's, his sword skills skyrocket when he transforms, turning him into a nearly unbeatable opponent. By season 3 of this anime continuity, he even manages to slice off some of Squidward's limbs, proving how far creators will go when reimagining Patrick as more than just comic relief. Even in these alternate versions, though, his core traits, loyalty, passion, and emotional extremes remain intact, just amplified in different genres. Spin-off star. Patrick's biggest transformation comes when he steps into the spotlight as the main character in The Patrick Star Show, a full spin-off series where he hosts his own bizarre TV program out of his house. In this series, Patrick's design gets small tweaks. He now often wears a green shirt with white flowers and purple shorts, pushing him visually away from his classic just trunks look, and making him feel more like a show host. He lives with his expanded family, his parents Cecil and Bunny, his 8-year-old sister Squidina, who acts as the show's producer, and his grumpy grandfather Grandpat, who is constantly irritated by Patrick's forgetfulness and obsession with his show. The series turns Patrick's chaotic personality into the engine of every episode. His bedroom is designed as a TV set, blurring the line between his imagination and reality. Stories often explore his random ideas, improvised segments, and surreal tangents, diving deep into his mind rather than just following SpongeBob's perspective. Over multiple seasons, The Patrick Star Show proves that Patrick can carry an entire narrative on his own, not just as a sidekick. The spin-off emphasizes his creativity, childish ego, and emotional outbursts, turning his once background stupidity into a complete comedic worldview. Young Camper. Patrick's evolution also travels backward in time with Camp Coral, SpongeBob's underyears, which shows him as a younger camper alongside kid versions of SpongeBob, Squidward, and Sandy. Here, Patrick wears the same style of shorts from the original show, but now paired with a green shirt and a red handkerchief, giving him a slightly more summer camp look while still staying recognizable. He lives in a dingy cabin, sleeping in a bunk bed shared with SpongeBob, while the group spends their days building underwater campfires, catching wild jellyfish, and swimming in Lake Yucky Muck at the craziest camp in the kelp forest. By showing Patrick as a child, the series reframes his adult stupidity as a kind of permanent childhood mindset rather than just random idiocy. His curiosity, impulsiveness, and lack of common sense feel more innocent in this context, helping explain why his friendship with SpongeBob is so deep. They basically grew up together in these spin-off continuity stories. The younger Patrick is still clumsy and easily distracted, but he often brings enthusiasm and weird ideas that drive camp adventures. This helps modern audiences, especially younger fans, connect with him from an earlier stage instead of only seeing him as a lazy adult under a rock. Modern movies. In the 2020 movie The SpongeBob Movie Sponge on the Run, Patrick returns in CGI form, voiced again by Bill Fagerbakke as an adult and Jack Gore as a younger Patrick in flashback scenes. The story sends SpongeBob and Patrick on a rescue mission to save Gary after he is snail-napped by King Poseidon and taken to the lost city of Atlantic City. This movie doubles down on the emotional side of Patrick. Underneath the jokes and distractions, he supports SpongeBob through fear, doubt, and risky decisions, showing how much he has matured as an emotional anchor, even if he remains intellectually challenged. Patrick also continues to appear in cross-media cameos. In Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, he makes a brief and bizarre cameo as a bootlegging victim whose head has been swapped with Wembley Fraggle from Fraggle Rock, reflecting how recognizable his silhouette is even in quick scenes. In the CGI/live-action movie Saving Bikini Bottom, the Sandy Cheeks movie, Patrick appears again, voiced by Bill Fagerbakke, but this time he steps back into more of a side character role while Sandy and SpongeBob lead the mission against an evil CEO who wants to genetically modify Bikini Bottom residents and sell them as toy pets. Patrick mainly appears alongside Squidward and Mr. Krabs while they are experimented on, showing that even when he is not the protagonist, his presence is essential in building the ensemble feel of Bikini Bottom. New TV era. In the newer seasons of SpongeBob, especially season 13 and onward, Patrick continues to get spotlight episodes that explore just how far his stupidity and creativity can go. Episodes like Pat the Dog show him acting like a worm and ending up in an animal shelter, forcing SpongeBob to train him like a pet to get him released, which pushes his de-evolution into animal-level behavior for comedy. Other episodes like Goofy Scoopers have SpongeBob and Patrick teaming up to revive an animatronic robot band, emphasizing their partnership and Patrick's ability to commit fully to a ridiculous mission. Meanwhile, The Patrick Star Show keeps adding layers to his characterization. Across these newer stories, Patrick's personality leans into extremes. He can be more selfish, more chaotic, and even more destructive. But writers balance this with moments of surprising wisdom or emotional vulnerability to keep fans from turning on him completely. His stupidity becomes a flexible tool, sometimes childlike innocence, sometimes satire of modern life, sometimes just pure slapstick. As new generations discover SpongeBob through streaming and new episodes, Patrick remains a central figure, constantly updated without losing his core. Design and personality. Across 27 years, Patrick's design has shifted subtly while preserving his core silhouette. Early hand-drawn animation showed him with rougher outlines and slightly duller colors, but modern HD and CGI versions make his pink skin brighter, his expressions more exaggerated, and his movement more elastic. Outfit changes in spin-offs like The Patrick Star Show and Camp Coral give him more variety, but every version maintains the basic elements that make him instantly recognizable. Rounded starfish body, green-based clothing, and a big, simple face built for extreme reactions. Personality-wise, Patrick has evolved from simple but sweet to chaotic, dumb icon. In the early 2000s, he was a kind-hearted, lazy friend who occasionally made things worse. Over time, writers experimented with darker, meaner, or more exaggerated versions, especially in mid-run seasons where fans sometimes criticized him for being too cruel or too stupid. However, spin-offs and movies often restored his emotional core by giving him heroic moments, heartfelt support for SpongeBob, or quirky family dynamics that explain his behavior. The result is a layered character who can be both the dumbest guy in the room and the one who unintentionally says the most honest thing. Why he endures. Patrick Starr's 27-year evolution shows how a background best friend can transform into a franchise pillar without losing his essence. He started as the lazy neighbor under a rock and grew into a movie hero, musical character, anime warrior, talk show host, camp kid, and constant meme source. The fact that he can exist in so many formats, from stage to CGI film, from crossovers to his own spin-off, proves just how flexible and powerful his core concept is. A clueless, emotionally intense, fiercely loyal friend who sees the world in the weirdest way possible. For fans, Patrick represents that part of childhood that refuses to grow up. He makes terrible decisions, forgets simple facts, and often ruins plans. But he also loves unconditionally and jumps into danger without hesitation when his friends need him. From 1999 to 2025 and beyond, Patrick has gone from the dumb joke to the emotional glue in many stories, reminding audiences that sometimes the stupid one is actually the most honest reflection of how confusing and ridiculous life can be.